Season of the Drifter begins tomorrow, and that means we've played all of Season 5 and Black Armory content that has been scheduled to release, and that means we can properly review Black Armory and Season 5 as a whole. We're going to be taking a look at each piece of content released throughout the season and discuss them individually, as well as discuss how said content was released in drip feed fashion, and if that system will work for the future of Destiny DLC. So without further ado, let's begin. So let's start with the story of the Black Armory. The story is that there's an elite group of crafters of the Black Armory who forge the most powerful weapons in the Golden Age. Ada 1 represents the Black Armory and has us help her reclaim and reignite each forge in the world. The story is somewhat interesting if you dive into the lore, but on the surface, Black Armory's story is pretty weak, and the opening cutscene with Ada made almost no sense. 1 minute she hates you, you flash your badge, then she's cool with you. Makes no sense to me, and overall throughout the entire season, the story was pretty disappointing. After talking to Ada, you can now begin your Black Armory questing. Ada first gives you a quest that leads you to find the first of the 4 forges, the Volunder Forge. Besides the fact that on day 1 most players were not able to even play the forge as power level requirements were set too high, how was the forge itself as a new activity? Personally, I found that doing forges got boring pretty quickly. All 4 of them felt the exact same, and that's really due to the fact that the forge's design doesn't allow for much variation. The concept for the forge is a 3-round wave-based activity within a small confined area, a similar concept to Prison of Elders being a 3-round wave-based activity. In the first 2 rounds of the forges, you need to kill blue glowing enemies that drop batteries to throw at the ignition in the center of the map. In the 3rd round, you will face a tanky boss. It's an overly simple design and isn't really challenging or unique in the slightest, and it really is the worst offender of repetitive gameplay in Destiny. I can honestly say out of all the repetitive PvE activities in Destiny's history, I've never been more bored or unexcited about PvE content as I have been with the Forges. In my opinion, the Forges really come down to being an overly simplified, weaker knockoff of the Prison of Elders from Destiny 1. Now as for the reason to run the Forges, the rewards, the weapons, and things like that, how are they? Actually, they're not too bad. The core gameplay loop is to obtain weapon frames from Ada 1 and prepare them to be forged in the forges. To prepare them, you need to do mini quest lines before it's ready to be forged. These mini quests are tedious little tasks like get precision kills and double kills, and after completing the mini quest, you need to go run a forge. The forge weapons themselves can actually be pretty strong if you get them with good rolls. For instance, getting a hammerhead machine gun with feeding frenzy and rampage is something definitely worth grinding for. The blast furnace and kindled orchid are also worth going for god rolls on, and I applaud Bungie for making weapons people want to grind for. However, grinding for them means doing forges, as well as the frame mini quests, which are both not what I consider to be enjoyable grinds. Something else that bothered me was how many times you must go back and forth between gameplay and talking to Ada 1. Complete step 1, back to Ada. Do step 2, back to Ada. Step 3, the need to do this got old pretty quickly and added to the tedium of forging weapons. And really, that's my biggest problem with most of the content in Black Armory. Tedium. Almost all of Black Armory's quests were tedious, forgettable, and relied on us running old content and perform random tasks in the world without any real purpose. Now let's talk about something I really loved in Black Armory, and that is the raid. Scourge of the Past is one of the best raid experiences Bungie has ever created. Bungie said they aimed to make a Wrath of the Machine style raid, and they nailed the fast-paced fun style that Wrath had. The atmosphere of being in the city, the Sparrow Racing section, the final boss, both Phase 1 and 2 are excellently crafted, and I believe Insurrection Prime is one of the best raid bosses Bungie has made yet, and I only have 2 minor complaints with the raid. Firstly is the loot. Besides the threat level, the weapons found in this raid are pretty underwhelming, and the armor looks pretty meh as well. Secondly, this raid felt too short. If there was just one more boss right after the first encounter in the city, I think that would have made this raid much better. But other than that, Scourge of the Past earns the praise it's given as one of the best raid experiences in Destiny. Next, we're going to talk about probably the biggest disappointment in all of Black Armory, and that is Niobe Labs. What was rumored to be a new dungeon, players were excited to see what Niobe Labs could be, but it wasn't until a few days before Niobe Labs released that it was leaked it wasn't going to be a dungeon, which was pretty disappointing to many players, myself included. What it turned out to be was an extremely complex and again, tedious puzzle to unlock the final forge. A puzzle that wouldn't be solved for 81 hours after its release, thanks to its difficulty as well as a bug preventing its completion. Niobe Labs was easily one of the most disappointing and confusing pieces of content Bungie has ever put out. Not just confusing because it was a puzzle, but confusing because nobody seemed to want it. Nobody seemed to enjoy solving it, even after its completion and the steps were posted online, nobody went back to try it. There was no reason to. It split the player base in half, as most of them wanted the 4th forge to be locked until Niobe Labs was solved, and the other half wanted Bungie to just give us the content instead of waiting for the community to solve a puzzle. It genuinely confuses me why this puzzle even exists. And if we get stuff like this in the future, make it secretive and something you can stumble upon instead of hyping it up as a content release, because this was extremely disappointing as something that was supposed to be looked forward to in terms of new content. Before we talk about the free seasonal events, the Dawning and Crimson Days, let's talk about the last piece of annual pass content in Black Armory, the Last Word quest. The first thing I want to say about this quest is that it was released way too late in the season. There's no reason for it to be released 2 months after Black Armory's release. With Bungie's latest Vidoc on Season of the Drifter, it seems they've learned that players didn't like waiting for an exotic quest like that, so with Thorn, it will be available just 1 week after Season 6 release. The Last Word quest was actually pretty good, except for the step that required 3 Hive ritual public events. A lot of people complained about the PvP portion of the quest, but it wasn't that bad if you could at least get a 0.5 KDA in Crucible. The final mission of the quest was pretty neat and unique, and the lore we got with this quest was also really cool. As far as how the Last Word is in PvP, I personally really love it. I've been running my favorite combo from Destiny 1, that being the Last Word paired with a sniper rifle. The gun is a ton of fun, almost as fun as it was in D1, and overall Last Word and its quest were pretty good and a pretty solid piece of content. The final thing I want to talk about briefly is the 2 seasonal events, both the Dawning and Crimson Days. Now the Dawning might be my favorite event in Destiny yet. The whole baking cookies and delivering them to all the vendors was pretty funny and kind of a neat quest, along with the sleigh that pooped out Glimmer. The quests were simple but enjoyable, and Masterwork cores were everywhere. It was a jolly holiday for sure. Crimson Days, on the other hand, was a little underwhelming this year. The event hasn't really evolved or changed much since it was first introduced in Destiny 1. Not to mention most of this year's rewards were available last year, and the mode stayed the exact same. I enjoyed playing it, but that's mostly because I love doubles, not so much the event that has you playing it. Oh, and one more thing, how are the exotics? There's fun to be had with all of them, Jotun especially. Overall, I'm pretty happy with all of them. None of them were worthless like some of the exotics in this game. At the end of the day, I'd give Season 5 in Black Armory a 6 out of 10. It'd probably be a 4 if it weren't for the Scourge of the Past raid and the pinnacle weapons like Breakneck. Releases like this won't keep my attention for long, but I'm hopeful for the future annual pass content. I think Bungie has learned a lot from this season about what players want, and Season of the Drifter looks to be pretty good, even if there seems to be a little amount of content. As long as that content is good, replayable content, then there doesn't need to be a lot in my opinion. Well, that's going to do it for this final review of Black Armory. Let me know your thoughts and if you agreed or disagreed with me on anything. Like I said, I'm hopeful for the future and can't wait to play Season of the Drifter tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.